anybody till to-morrow morning at 8. Obenreizer's quickness instantly saw the means by which he might make the clock betray its master's confidence, and place its master's papers at his disposal. "Stop, sir!" he cried, at the moment when the notary was closing the door. "Don't I see something moving among the boxes on the floor there?" Maitre Voigt turned his back for a moment to look. In that moment Obenreizer's ready hand put the regulator on from the figure 1 to the figure 2. Unless the notary looked again at the half circle of steel, the door would open at 8 that evening, as well as at 8 next morning, and nobody but Obenreizer would know it. "There is nothing," said Maitre Voigt. "Your troubles have shaken your nerves, my son. Some shadow thrown by my taper, or some poor little beetle who lives among the old lawyer's secrets, running away from the light. Hark! I hear your fellow clerk in the room. To work, to work, and build to-day the first step that leads to your new fortunes." He good humouredly pushed Obenreizer out before him, extinguished the taper, with a last fond glance at his clock, which passed harmlessly over the regulator beneath, and closed the oaken door. At 3 the office was shut up. The notary, and everybody in the notary's employment, with one exception, went to see the rifle shooting. Obenreizer had pleaded that he was not in spirits for a public festival. Nobody knew what had become of him. It was believed that he had slipped away for a solitary walk. The house and offices had been closed but a few minutes, when the door of a shining wardrobe in the notary's shining room opened, and Obenreizer stepped out. He walked to a window, unclosed the shutters, satisfied himself that he could escape unseen by way of the garden, turned back into the room, and took his place in the notary's easy chair. He was locked up in the house, and there were 5 hours to wait before 8 o'clock came. He wore his way through the 5 hours, sometimes reading the books and newspapers that lay on the table, sometimes thinking, sometimes walking to and fro. Sunset came on. He closed the window shutters before he kindled a light. The candle lighted, and the time drawing nearer and nearer, he sat, watch in hand, with his eyes on the oaken door. At 8, smoothly and softly and silently, the door opened. One after another, he read the names on the outer rows of boxes. No such name as Vendale. He removed the outer row, and looked at the row behind. These were older boxes and shabbier boxes. The 4 first that he examined were inscribed with French and German names. The 5th bore a name which was almost illegible. He brought it out into the room, and examined it closely. There, covered thickly with time stains and dust, was the name Vendale. The key hung to the box by a string. He unlocked the box, took out 4 loose papers that were in it, spread them open on the table, and began to read them. He had not so occupied a minute, when his face fell from its expression of eagerness and avidity to one of haggard astonishment and disappointment. But, after a little consideration, he copied the papers. He then replaced the papers, replaced the box, closed the door, extinguished the candle, and stole away. As his murderous and thievish footfall passed out of the garden, the steps of the notary and some one accompanying him stopped at the front door of the house. The lamps were lighted in the little street, and the notary had his door key in his hand. "Pray do not pass my house, Mr. Bintrey," he said. "Do me the honour to come in. This is one of our town half holidays, our tier, but my people will be back directly. It is droll that you should ask your way to the hotel of me. Let us eat and drink before you go there." "Thank you. Not to-night. said Bintrey. "Shall I come to you at 10 to-morrow?" "I shall be enchanted, sir, to take so early an opportunity of redressing the wrongs of my injured client," returned the good notary. "Yes," retorted Bintrey, "your injured client is all very well, but a word in your ear." He whispered to the notary, and walked off. When the notary's housekeeper came home, she found him standing at his door motionless, with the key still in his hand, and the door unopened. End of Act 4, Scene 1. Recording by Alan Chant of Tunbridge, Kent, England. www.sevenoaksprep.kent.sch.uk